Hi friend, I just wanted to take a minute to invite you to our Lash Biz Babes Experience 2026. This is a one-day all online event happening on May 2nd, and our theme for the year is going all in. We are shaking things up and doing it differently than anyone ever has before. This is going to be an all online event as usual, but it's going to be 100% a curated journey throughout your day as we guide you through the mindset, strategy, and passion needed to go all in on your business to make it your best year in business yet. All lash artists, estheticians, and beauty professionals are invited to join us. There will be guided sessions, interactive workshops, a panel discussion, and big giveaways happening throughout that whole day. And tickets are on sale now for only $199. Payment plans are available. Let's go all in on our businesses for 2026 together. All the details and the link for tickets are down in the show notes below. I would love to have you join us online in May. Welcome to Lash Biz Babes, the podcast for solo beauty business owners who want to build a full clientele and create a business and life that they truly love. My name is Erica. I'm your host. I'm a lash artist turned beauty business coach, lash educator, and social media manager for salons and beauty businesses. I'm so happy that you're here. Let's go ahead and jump into today's episode. Welcome to today's episode of Lash Biz Babes. My name is Erica. I'm your host, and I'm so excited to be back again with you today. And we have a guest episode. It's been a hot minute since we've had a guest on the show, so I'm so excited to introduce you to our guest today. Her name is Cady, and she's a life coach, NLP practitioner, and the host of the Happiness Hangout podcast. She helps women in their 20s build confidence, clarity, and self-love so that they can create lives that truly feel aligned. Through her podcast content and coaching, she shares mindset shifts and tools that make personal growth simple, fun, and empowering. And I absolutely love her content on Instagram, which is why I invited her on the show. So welcome, Cady.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So first off, I would just love for you to kind of introduce yourself. I know I talked a little bit about what you do in your intro there, but if you could kind of just tell us what you do and introduce yourself.
Yeah, of course. So I have always been very interested in self-improvement and have realized how much of an impact our mindset has on our life and the thoughts that we think. And a few years ago, after just going through a low, I really got even deeper into self-improvement and started posting on Instagram and TikTok. And the more that I was connecting with people and realizing the things that they were going through and how so many of us really do have a lot of the same challenges, like being able to understand that, I was like, I needed to be doing something more with this. And so I decided to get my life coach certification and really just got deeper into that, started my podcast, The Happiness Hangout, all about just like little mindset shifts on how to start living a happier life and change the way that we think. And it has just been such an exciting journey and so great being able to really just connect with people on that and helping them shift their mindsets and get closer to their dream life.
Yeah, I love it so much because I feel like since I started my business, it's basically been like a whole self-growth journey. And what you do and the work that you do plays such a huge role, especially as entrepreneurs. So I'm excited to kind of talk about what that looks like and hopefully be able to help everyone listening be able to reframe some things and recognize maybe some areas that they need to work on or, ways that they can grow. How did you get started with what you do?
Yeah, so I think it was really just a lot of little steps that got me here of like being into self-improvement and wanting to grow myself. And when I realized like, oh wait, I can change my own life. And so many people didn't know. I think it's still something a lot of people are realizing, the power that we have over our own life. And so realizing like, okay, I want to help other people unlock this potential in themselves and get them to where they want to get. And just posting on social media and creating the podcast and really connecting with people is what really just got me here.
Yeah, that's really cool. Was there any struggles or limiting beliefs or like self-doubts that you personally faced early on? Especially like I feel like when you start sharing that stuff on social media, all of this kind of just hits you in the face. So is there anything that you feel like you struggled with the most?
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's always an up and down because I think we're human beings, so obviously there's gonna be things that offend us, there's gonna be things that hurt us, things that come up that we're like, "Wait." There's always things that come up, and I think in the very beginning, it was just being like, "Am I good enough to do this? Am I worthy of doing this? Is this what I should be doing?" And honestly, just starting a business in general is really scary because you're letting go of this comfort and stability and putting yourself in this position of a different path that isn't necessarily paved, that you're paving yourself. And so, really, those doubts consistently were coming up of, wait, am I doing the right thing? Do I know enough? Are people going to trust me? Am I going down the right path? And eventually, you start to build up that confidence. But definitely in the beginning, when you're posting on social media, there's always going to be negative comments coming up, and really learning to not take them so to heart and be like, you know what, I'm doing what I'm doing for a reason and trusting that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad you brought up, like, when you start posting and how that can feel, because so many of us are like, I think for me, it was kind of like a fear of visibility, like, oh, people are gonna see me, and that kind of like opens you up for, positive things, but then also can, sometimes criticism and stuff, and that can be hard. So I love your perspective on that. And so I'm curious, was there any like one moment, because you've talked a little bit about how you got started with this and some of the challenges that you face, but was there any like one moment throughout all this or in your life when you realized what a difference your mindset can have?
Yeah, I think there's been so many, it's crazy because I think there's always these moments in life of going through a low and eventually taking accountability for it of, wait, my life is a direct reflection of my thoughts. And so before even posting this content of being at a low was right after I graduated college and a lot of just confusion, not knowing what I was doing. And eventually just being fed up with that and being like, wait, if I change my mindset and start like picking up new habits, doing different things, let's see what changes. And when you start seeing that proof, you're like, wait, this is insane. So every time after that, I've gone through, like, obviously, there's always going to be ups and downs in life. And so whenever I do go through a low again, it's kind of like giving myself that wake up call of, okay, your life is a reflection of the thoughts that you're thinking and the things that you believe is possible for you. And just like there's this quote that's your present is a direct reflection of your past thoughts. Really like realizing that of, okay, if my life right now isn't what I want it to be, it is because of thoughts that I was thinking in the past that weren't helping. And so right now, if I'm not happy with that, all I have to do is change the way that I'm thinking. And then you really see how life changes. And when you see the proof, you're like, wait, this actually all works.
Yeah, I think I've heard that quote before too. And like just that was such a big, I don't know, like eye-opening thing, like mind-blowing thing. I feel like it's so super true. Like the work and the thoughts and the things that you put in. Like 6 months ago, all the work that you did has gotten you to where you're at right now. You want to keep growing, and it's like, okay, what thoughts do I need to have now? And that plays, I think, such a direct role with the actions that you take too, like your thoughts and how you behave. And there's, I'm sure, all the kinds of like subconscious levels of that. I'm sure you kind of work with with some of those
Definitely.
things, but yeah, the thoughts you have and the beliefs that you have, like he was saying, definitely play such a huge role in what your life looks like right now. So as you work with people, are there any most common struggles like you see women facing right now?
I think one of the biggest ones is definitely comparison. And it's feeling behind or feeling like you should be somewhere else. That also plays a big role in like this feeling of not being good enough of, wait, am I doing the right thing? These people are over here. Should I be at this phase in my life? And the more that we end up doing that is the more that we just end up taking away from our own life too. I think just this really big thought of like, I should be somewhere else because this is where everyone else is doing. And the more that you're doing that, you're just like missing out on your own life and actually just watering your own life. And then I think the second one too is just these limiting beliefs that we all hold of like, I'm not good enough. What makes me worthy to go for this? Why should I be doing this? And yeah, those both of those things just really get in the way from us like living our most like vibrant life and also just going for the things that we truly want to be going for.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. So, for anyone that's listening who might be kind of feeling some of that, what would you say would be like the a good first step towards breaking free of those thoughts or
Yeah.
feelings?
I think awareness is the first step. Even just being aware of, wait, I am feeling myself comparing right now, or I am feeling like every time I want to go for this thing, this limiting belief of I'm not good enough comes up, or why would I be able to do that? And so once you're aware of that, you're able to, number one, like replace it. And also, number two, just like stop it when it's happening. So creating that awareness and then being like, okay, I don't want to be feeling like this anymore. What is a more positive thought that I can replace it with? And a more positive belief. And our beliefs are just things that we have consistently told ourselves over and over and over again, which is scary, but also such an exciting thing because it means that if you just choose a new belief or choose a new thought that you keep telling yourself over and over and over again, eventually you're going to have a completely new belief, which means your whole entire reality will also change. And so, yeah, I think that's the biggest part of being aware of it and then replacing it with something more positive every single time that negative thought comes up. And you don't need to believe it at first, but it's just like consistently saying it until you do believe it.
Yeah, I love how you frame that as like it's exciting because like you truly can decide what you want that, what you want your belief to be or what you want to do with your life and make that change at any time. And it can be like a really positive thing. I think that's the part that I struggled with the most when I first was aware of how self-critical I was. Because anyone who's listening to the show has heard me talk about, or has who has listened to the show in the past has heard me talk about I can be like super self-critical on myself. And when I first started realizing that and I was trying to do what you're talking about with like replacing it with a better thought, I was realizing like this doesn't go away overnight. Like
Yeah.
just because I'm trying to think, something positive and, have a better thought with that, like it's a work in progress. So even if like you don't reach that right away, like Katie was saying, like being able to just continually and repeatedly like reinforcing it with that, I think at some point it does become more like second nature and like you don't really think twice about it anymore. So I'm glad you brought that up because I know that was a struggle I even personally had where I was like, wait, I don't know if I feel any better about this today than I did yesterday.
Yeah, it really takes time and it's about patience and also not being so hard on yourself when you find yourself like taking a few steps back. Because I think for me I also dealt with that so heavily of okay, finally I was starting to see results and then there'd be days where I was so hard on myself and then I'd put myself down for feeling that way, which made it 10 times worse. And it's about being like, you know what, you're a human being. Some days are going to be harder. Like and that's okay. And in those days you can like just give yourself grace and patience and be like, you know what, I'm having a harder day, but that doesn't mean I'm not making progress.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. My favorite motto is like tomorrow is a new day. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna sleep this off. We're gonna try again tomorrow. But yeah,
Exactly.
like giving grace is such an important part of the process. So, with this, since we're kind of talking about mindset and like being business owners, what role do you feel mindset plays as a business owner? And do you feel like it can affect the results that people get with like their sales or their marketing or their business growth?
Yes, definitely. I think mindset is huge because it really sets a barrier on what you think is possible for you. So if you don't believe that you're going to be able to achieve these kinds of sales or achieve these kinds of things, like that's exactly what's going to show up because you're not going to put yourself in positions to get that. And I even have episodes on my podcast about like being lucky, for example, and how luck isn't some random thing. Like so many people are like, oh, they're just a lucky person. But luck is actually like a strategic thing. The more that you believe you are lucky, is the more that you will put yourself in positions to be lucky and the more that you will actually get results. And that's the same thing with sales or like getting what you want in your business of if you believe that things are possible for you or you believe you're worthy of it, you're going to put yourself in positions to get those things, put yourself in rooms to get the things that you want and you eventually end up seeing that show up in your own business.
Yeah, that's all. That's so good. I'm like, I love your content on Instagram. So I'm like, I know these things. I didn't realize you had to like podcast with it too. So now I'm gonna have to go binge that because I'm
I'm
just like, I
excited
need
for you.
all of this in my daily life. But I truly believe like what Katie was just talking about is so 100% true. I was just telling one of my lash artist friends on DMs last week. She was sending me some messages and we were talking about some different struggles that she's having right now and just being able to grow her business. And I was just like, okay, like just look at it. I was like, I know it's hard right now, but like look at it with just that there's opportunities all around you. Like your next client can book at any second. Just keep an open mind to all the possibilities. And she was just like, what does that mean? I have to keep an open mind to like a different job or something? I was like, no, not necessarily, but just like, opportunities. There could be students that you could book tomorrow. There could be educator opportunities that come your way. There could be clients that come your way. So I love that you use that example with like luck and believing that you are lucky and putting yourself in those positions. Because I've even seen that manifest in my own business too, where speaking opportunities and things like I went and taught a class at a big beauty show in San Antonio this past weekend. And I feel like the way that I was able to get that was just by like believing that I had opportunities all around me and then going out and applying for these things because like I believed that I could do that. Because I mean, you're never gonna get these opportunities or get lucky or, get the sales, get the clients if you're not putting, have that good positive belief in them putting yourself in positions where that could actually like happen for you. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. It's just so interesting to see how it all plays out and how the mindset part of things can directly correlate with the results that you get.
Yeah, I think a lot of us don't even realize how big of an impact it makes and how so many people just think it's random, but you don't see all of the work that is
Mhm.
actually going into it. And even just saying yes to things and being open, like you have no idea how those little things, like you might not see results right away, but those little things are always adding up. Eventually, like when you're putting droplets in a cup, eventually the cup's going to be full. You're going to be like, oh, wait, I had no idea that this whole time that water was like accumulating in there.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you like look back after all that and you're like, oh my gosh, look how much water's there. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, look at how far all these little tiny baby steps have gotten me. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I love that. So if there's anyone listening right now that's struggling with like limiting beliefs or mindset blocks, like what would your advice be for them if you could, say like one thing for them?
I think believing that the reason you want to do what you want to do is for a reason. I think so often we have these doubts come in of like, wait, why am I doing this? What am I doing? Is this the right thing? But you having this desire to do it in itself is enough of a reason for you to be going for it. And so when those doubts come up, when you are feeling like not sure, just keeping that in mind of like we each have such unique things that we want to be doing. And even if there are similarities in it, like there's still so much uniqueness and so much you that you can put into it. And when you lead with that and you lead with there is a bigger reason for what I want to be doing and trusting that, I think it really makes it easier when those doubts come in too.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even think I have anything to add to that. It's all good. So, with that, are there any like habits or rituals that you feel like business owners can have that will help them continually to work on or shift their mindset to help them grow their business?
I think, again, just hearing your negative thoughts out and replacing them is like one of the biggest things that you can do because, again, that is the barrier that we put on ourselves and really just being super conscious of when you find yourself being afraid to go for something. And then also like making the intentional decision to put yourself in new positions and get out of your comfort zone. And so a lot of it is mindset, but it's also about doing the external work too. And so when that mindset comes and play with the external work, that's when you really see the results. It's also like the patience part of it of you're not going to see results right away all the time, but when you truly trust and keep taking those steps, like eventually something has to come out of it.
Yeah, the consistency and showing up, whether there's one person booking or buying from you or consuming your content or like 100 or 1,000 or any of that. I think that absolutely does play a big difference in things too. I had someone mention that to me over the weekend when I was at that event of just how they were like, oh yeah, like we just noticed that you were so consistent with things. And I was like, actually, that's really nice to hear because the amount of times I've been like, felt like I wasn't doing enough or growing enough, but it's like all these little drops of water, all these little baby steps, right, are all adding up. And even if you don't see like the results of that right away, it's happening. It's all like working out in your favor and
Yeah.
it's coming.
Yeah, like it doesn't happen until it does. And so you might not think anything's happening, but you have no idea about all the things that are behind the scenes. And then one day something bigger happens and you're like, oh my God, it happened. Like, and I had no idea. You have no idea what's right around the corner for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's like all these baby steps and these little drops of water and all these things that you're doing are like it's working and it's getting you there, but you just have to keep doing them. I recognized that when I was like when I was a lash artist and I was building my lash clientele, and I remember laying awake at like midnight one night because I was like, what else could I be doing? Like I need to do more. And then I woke up the next morning and had a new client that had booked, and it was like, oh, what I'm doing is working. I just need to stick with it. Like it's a work in progress, and like you were saying, like it doesn't always happen overnight.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. So any last words of wisdom that you want to share? Like this is the type of stuff you work with women with all the time. Is there any like kind of last things you would say to wrap it up?
I think just what you believe you can achieve is what you end up being able to achieve. So you are really the biggest limit on yourself. And I know that can be very scary to hear, but again, it is also so exciting to hear that the second that you decide you want more for yourself, the second you decide that you are worthy of more, the second you decide that it is possible for you to achieve that new level is when a lot of new doors are able to open for you.
I love that thought. And like the way you frame things is like it's an exciting thing when it's also like it's nothing external that you don't have control over. When it's your own self in your own way, like you have control over yourself and what you do and what you think. So I feel like that is a really exciting thing because you can always like, okay, now this is what I need to do and I'm going to be able to get there. So I love that. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to throw one more last question at you. I forgot to put it on the outline, but is there any like favorite book that you have that you've read or that you're currently reading? Any like a book recommendation? I always ask all the guests this because I like to add to my own reading list too.
Yeah, I have a lot of favorite books. So it's always hard for me to choose one, but I think the two that I always come back to reading is number one, The Alchemist. I feel like when I read that book, crazy things end up happening. And there's so many beautiful meanings in it. And then number two, The Four Agreements is like what I live by.
I love that. Do not have either of those on my list, so they're immediately getting added.
Amazing. I'm excited for you to read them.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you for that. Yeah, sound like they're really good. So let us know like where can they find you online and like connect with you and kind of learn more about like your work and what you do.
Definitely. So my Instagram and TikTok are at Happiness by Cady. My podcast is the Happiness Hangout. And then my website is happinessbycady.com.
Perfect. I love that. So we're going to have all the links for those down in the show notes below. So you guys can go follow her on like Instagram and TikTok and kind of learn more about her work and what she does on her website. But thank you so much for coming on today. I was like really, really excited for this because like I said, I just truly love your content and the perspectives it gives and just like looking at things in a more positive way, like reframing things. I really appreciate that about you. So thank you so much for what you do and putting that out into the world and all of the things.
Thank you. And thank you so much for just having me on. It was so great. I loved this whole conversation.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Thank you so much.